Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, team. Hello, everybody in the house. Good evening, guys. Nice to see all you people in the house, everyone. Welcome to our yet another day, team. The time right now is 9:32. Yes, it is 9:32 p.m. and it's our back-to-back sixth day. So, guys, this is how time will pass pretty quickly. So you need to make really the most of it. Otherwise, it's going to get into problems. Yes or no, right? Time just 6 days have just gone. Just imagine for these 6 days, you would have not attended any of my session. You would have still remained the same person with the same old thought process. Yes or no? So this is where, guys, you need to really understand that it's possible that day by day, the way you think, the way you look at the life, everything it can change. And as part of today's session, sixth, we are going to do the continuation for the end-to-end IT industry process. Okay, so yesterday we brought it to point. We'll just do a quick summary of that, and we'll close on the rest of the pieces which will follow. So different projects, different companies are going to do it at different times. So first we will be covering that up, and then immediately we will be jumping into question and answers. So yeah, whatever you guys have, basically you can pitch it up and I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. And if I'm not aware of something, I'll tell that I'm not aware of it. So I'll just be very transparent and open with you people. Okay, fine. And yeah, all those members who are part of the life transformation community. Okay, so for all of them, I'll like give you guys an option to join on Zoom, and then in this live session, like face to face ask, not just on the comments, but like interact on a face to face basis as well. Yeah, so this is how it is going to be planned. Okay, so chalo, first of all, let's get going with regards to our today's topic then. Okay, so let's quickly check on where were we, and then we'll move on with the rest of the pieces. Okay, fine. So guys, I'm just opening the image which I created because yeah, I gave a nice thought process before having those things in place. Okay, so guys, step by step in a agile related world, we will take an exclusive session to understand the agile approach of software development life cycle. Okay, we are going to take one dedicated session for that. So yeah, right now the time is 9:34 p.m. and straight away let's start doing it. It's Saturday time and have fun, people. Let's make the most of today as well. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, so chalo, let's get going. The first numbers is a customer wants the application. It could be service company, product company, whichever organization, but there are some demands like we want the application like this. That is the step number one. As soon as that it comes, so there is a need for some business analyst, or in the agile terminology it is the product owner, who understands the business and then converts it into some requirements which the technical team can implement. Okay, so that is the second level thing which is going to happen. And then it moves on further. Okay, guys, is there like chats? I'm like, can you guys just type something in chat? Basically, uh, I don't see any chat. So because a Q&A will come, so guys, we need to have the chat working. Otherwise, it's going to get really into trouble. Yes. Can you just type something, guys, if you guys are there? Because I'm not able to see any of the chats here. So is it not working? Is it a problem there somewhere? Fine, we'll anyways get started with the day activity then. Okay, so don't worry about that. Let's see how it. Okay, fine. So fine, fine, fine. Yeah, now it's coming. Now it's coming. Now it's coming. Okay. So Alok says not visible. Now it's coming, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your response. So it's working through nicely. Okay, it's working through nicely. Yeah, so it would help now. Okay, bus, thum jao bando, thum jao. Okay. Thank you all for that quick update. Now the chat is loading stuff nicely. Okay, fine. Fine, 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 fine. YouTube guys, technical world में these challenges will keep coming and it is a part of life. So you deal with it. थोड़ा सा respect करो. अपनी family के कोई बंदे ने बनाया है वो application, so it's fine. Sometimes our products will also be in production. Sometimes it might misbehave because of whatever reason. So yeah, it's fine. It's okay. So fine, chalo team. Let's get going for the day. Okay, yeah, it's working nicely. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Good. Chalo, let's get started, team. Then the quick action items. Client comes up with requirements. A business analyst that designation might be there for some companies, or some other company's product owner understands the requirements, comes, logs it into Jira tool, which is an end-to-end software management tool which would be available, updates the requirements there. Second step is the team connects with the product owner into a grooming session or a refining session where they understand the requirement. Meanwhile, the remaining of the technical things will happen. Immediately, the team is going to break it down to understand that requirement. Now, two divisions will start working. The development will start and the QA activities will start. So as part of the development, you will spend some time in designing and the approach finalizing. So guys, multiple ways of achieving the same solution is available. So do a discussion with your team members, with the people who are going to do the review, so your seniors as well. So if you have any doubt, get it clarified, guys. IT may, everybody, okay? IT may just make sure key one very important thing, um, don't keep reworking. If you really want to get productive results in the IT industry, always avoid rework. Okay, just keep this thing in mind. Okay, once you have put your time, efforts, planning, वापस से redo नहीं होना चाहिए चीजें. This is very important. Okay, redo should not be happening. Okay, so this is what it is. So just make a note of it. So otherwise it's time waste for everyone, money waste, time waste, planning waste, efforts waste, and then a double work also. So it's not going to help out. So that's where do upfront planning. So before getting into the coding, come up with some approaches, talk it with the people, like am I on the right track, should I code it like this only, or something else is also there to be considered. But you guys have to do effort from your side, come up with results, and then go to somebody. Don't just be like, show me how to do. People will not like it anyways, guys. Okay, so IT world is a practical world, everybody is busy in their own stuff. Fine, fine, fine. Now let's move on further. So once it is done, the development starts, the QA process starts, the developers comes, finalizes the requirement, one person. Now this is where all the softwares start coming, which you people might already be knowing, like ID setup. So Eclipse related system will be there. So now all the basic softwares like logging will be required, so some log4j or slf4j will be there on the server side. UI side वाले तो console में ही log करते हैं. So guys, even UI में, like Google Analytics is also used for some tracking, because when the customer is executing, so he just finds it in his local browser. What is UI? Runs in the browser at the customer machine. How do you get the logs of the browser? Practically not possible, right? So there are some tools like Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager. Mein, you can really put a lot of scripts which is going to give you real time also information about how your websites are being used. So there are ways. UI data can also be tracked. Server data can also be tracked. So whenever somebody is using it, behind the screen logs will be generated. So you can really see, okay, Tausif has logged in, he has gone to this page now, he has done this purchase request. So the logs can be studied as well, okay, which talks about how the customers are using your softwares. So ye pura ka pura will be taken care. So basic project wrapper will be created. Even UI project, when you are starting the project from scratch, somebody senior on the UI is also going to create some wrapper structure, nothing but packages, components, high level. Server pe bhi packaging, controllers, services, the basic structure, the basic dependencies like logging dependencies, database dependencies, Spring dependencies, all of that thing is also going to be bundled together. Okay, and then it is going to be taken forward. Okay, uh, yes. Fine, chalo, let's take it forward. Okay. uh, I am parallelly even checking here, guys. Okay, just to see. Okay, I think Dipali, the screen is working. It might be something at your side. Okay, so because yeah, I see it even working in my device, and I see it here as well. Fine. So moving on further, and Pawan, yeah. So Zoom Connect is only for our internal live transformation member group, but all the other questions I'll be taking here in this chat itself. Okay. Yes. Chalo. Let's move on further, team. So while the time this all is happening, yesterday we already discussed the approach will be finalized. The approach will be finalized, and people will start doing the development. Okay. Now once the development is started, once the development is started, so phase by phase, guys, the dev process will be followed by your dev testing. Yesterday we spoke about the infrastructure where we have to go for this activity, right? Dev, QA, stage, production, step by step things will go through. Now different companies will use different environments Some people will prefer AWS to be the environment. Some people will prefer Azure by Microsoft. Some people will prefer Google Cloud for platforms. So basically, it completely depends upon the pricing, like how much of RAM, how much of CPU, kitna paisa ja raha hai, monthly billing, yearly billing, all those factors will be considered. Some people will have in-house as well. That was earlier, many people used to prefer in-house infrastructure, but right now it's all using on cloud, because a lot of guys in-house may you have to maintain that big server rooms. Now also I've seen worked in companies where there were like in-house uh, like deployments also and servers maintained, and it's really mess basically. Okay, you need to have big rooms where servers are up and running 24 by 7, and it should not come down anytime. Backup facilities should be very good, and you have to keep growing it. So matlab lot of space consumption. But if you pick it up in any AWS right now, you might be knowing like kidhar pani ke andar guys, somewhere in oceans they would have set up their own data centers and all the servers. Okay, so they would have set it up somewhere else, guys. Okay, so that's what it is. So just understand that all these things will be coming. So it's easy, you can pay that much money because your focus is on expanding the business. You can pay like, okay, deployment cost will be nothing compared to the revenue which the business is going to give you back. That's where AWS and all these cloud structures are really picking up very nicely. It's efficient balance basically. You can afford that much money for the services which is coming in returns for you. Okay, fine. Once that is done, we even spoke about the QA process. The QA gets busy in writing the test cases. Even the QA test cases will be reviewed with each other so that there is more confidence. And yesterday we even spoke about some unit testing related stuff. So guys, server pay unit testing possible? Yeah, JUnit, TestNG. These two are the softwares. Anyone can be used in your company. TestNG or JUnit. It comes along with some mocking related tools also. JMockit or PowerMockito. So mocking plus unit testing is one component. I would like you people to study it, understand it. Okay, that is one piece. Now moving on further to the next thing. Okay, just 1 second, team. Okay, okay. Okay, moving on further. So even UI side, you can write unit testing guys. Okay, so just be aware of it. In UI also unit testing possible. I'm not aware of what tool they use, but they can write unit testing and even mocking on the UI side also. So you have to Google it out, all the UI developers in the house. Now QA people will do some QA automation and both will happen. And once the system is looking good, you hand it over to the QA team. And yesterday we spoke about that approach as well. How do you do it? Now there is a 10-member team. Understand it very clearly. Okay, there is a 10-member team. Everybody is having their code, and but the release is going to be one, right? So in the end there is only one production system. One version of code runs always, regardless of 10-member team or a 100-member team, right? One version of code is running at any given point of time in production, right? So accordingly you need to freeze, like it's a different process, like for which release, how many features will be going. All that comes as part of the project management activity. So right now don't bother about it, but just know it, like 10 people, 20 people, no matter what, they would be knowing that my features are going to go as part of so and so release, which is going to happen on so and so date. Accordingly they would be merging the code. So there is playing with Bitbucket or code management repositories. Okay, Bitbucket or code management repositories. Bitbucket is one, Git is one, SVN is one. So like this, different companies might prefer different source code management tools basically. Now once you do all that, okay, once you do all that, and then you go ahead and do the QA deployment. Now there are two ways, guys. One is manually kar lenge, right? What is manual process? You go to the Bitbucket, download the entire code which is supposed to go to the QA environment. You run your commands to build the jar file or the var file, the deployable files. UI people can take their own assets, whatever they do. There is compromising, like compressing in the UI side as well. A minified JS will be available. Okay, one JS having a combination of all. So there are build tools in the UI world as well. So be aware of that. Minified forms will be available. You take all those assets, you go to this machine via the, yesterday we spoke about tools, go there, do the deployment, bring it up, test it once, give it to the QA team. Okay, so fine. So far ho raha hai yahan pe. Okay. Now going further, then what happens? So yesterday we came to this point. Okay, now you have deployed it on the QA and now it's available. Now guys, what basically happens is the QA starts testing the system. So by the time the QA is ready with the test cases, now test cases are all written majorly in Excel sheets. Okay, when I do this, I am expecting this thing to come from the system, right? When I do this, I'm expecting this thing to come from the system. And then now basically it has what are you going to test, what are you expecting, and then there will be one column called as actual results. So basically if I do this, I expect this. So what they do is they take the Excel sheet, they go to the QA environment. QA is quality analyst, the QA environment. They would go there, they would start doing the testing, and now one by one Excel sheets, so they'll start following up all the steps because they have done the prior work on it. While the developers were coding, these people were preparing this data. Now then they test it, and whatever they see, actually they just fill it up in the actual column, and then they say, okay, the system is looking as expected. And if anything is not matching, then they test it more rigorously, and then in the Jira there is a way by which they can file bugs. Okay, so there is something called as bug in Jira. So all the people is going to just log in whenever a QA guy has a bug. He logs in into just Jira tool. He clicks on like guys. Again, it's a different tool itself. UI rehta hai, clicking, you will be understanding it. He logs in there. He clicks and files a bug. Terminology is like filing a bug. Okay, reporting a bug. So he goes there. He creates a bug with enough details. I tried this. I was expecting this, but this is what is happening. Yeah, this is what. And after that, he knows which was the developer who worked on it. Okay, because in the Jira, he knows like what feature he's testing, who was the developer assigned to that. Everybody is clear. He directly assigns the ticket to Jira. में उसको ticket भी बोलते हैं guys. Some terminologies you might be knowing it, ticket or task. People might use all these things interchangeably, so it means one and the same. They are all talking about the Jira components basically. So ticket assign karna, nothing but whatever Jira bug which they have found, they just assign that ticket back to the developer. And now developer also have to actively use Jira tool. Then he would know that okay, so and so QA people has assigned this bug to me. Plus whenever a bug is assigned, they will get some email alerts. So you have to monitor your emails also in the IT industry. If there is something coming to you, you have to accordingly go there and act on it accordingly. Okay, so guys, email monitoring is also going to be an important activity. So with college mindset, यहाँ पे इतना हो जाता है like who monitors email, right? Next day your team lead might be like, hey, yesterday I told you to do this, and you will be like, where did you say? He will say, I gave you an email. So that's where monitor emails. Some valuable things might happen as part of that as well. Fine. Now once this is done, the bugs will be addressed. Now okay, let's understand. Now this is critical for all the developers. When the bug comes, how are you supposed to solve the bug? Here we will even talk something about the debugging related skills and how you should do step by step. Okay, fine. So first you have to just study the requirement. Okay, whatever the QA or the tester is saying in the bug ticket, okay, or the bug which he has filed in Jira, you read it clearly. And first thing is you need to understand whether it is a real bug. Bug is a problem basic, something which is not working as expected. So you need to think and check whether whatever that person is saying, was it the real requirement which the business gave, or this guy is talking something else. As many times guys, bugs might be invalid. Yeah, this is not even in the requirement. Then why are you even checking it like that? Requirement says this should happen, this is what I'm doing, so no, you should not text something else. Guys, again, important point came here. Okay, important point came here is, understand guys, okay, both dev and the QA people, very important statement. As part of the initial requirement finalizing, the product owner will be writing all the requirements in the tool Jira, right? Now that is the source of truth. Nothing but the entire development should happen to meet those requirements. The QA should happen to meet those requirements. Okay, in the end, okay, in the end, it should not be the case ki bhai requirement to things are not even there, but you guys are playing in your own self. This is supposed to be there, that is not supposed to be there. Guys, you cannot make that decision. Whenever there is confusion or what is there, what is not there, you go back to the requirement, study it, and if there is some confusion, talk back to your product owner ke bhai, what about this thing? But don't build something in assumption. Even for testers, for you, the important thing is you need to understand it here. Okay, like if it is mentioned in the requirement, that is the source of truth. Don't trust the developer. This is the statement, guys, I have heard in my team also. Okay, so there were some QAs in my team and they have a like, okay, don't trust the developers. Whatever the developer says, you should not rely on that. For you, the source of truth is the product, the business, the requirements. So you need to go there and do that. Okay, fine. So chalo, let's now go ahead about how you should actually debug. Okay, and how you should solve the problem. Okay, fine. Step by step approach hota hai, and as part of today's session we are going to discuss these things also in details. Okay, fine. So now what happens is, okay, so that person has filed a bug. Okay, so first of all you need to understand whether that is a real requirement, yes or no. If it is a real requirement, then you need to go to the QA environment and try to reproduce it there. Okay, try to just check whether it's really happening or not happening. Because guys, don't directly, kabhi kuch gadbad ho jati hai. Okay, a lot of things might happen. So go there, whatever steps that guy has done on the QA environment itself, try to reproduce the bug just to be sure. Okay, and while you are reproducing it, you can go to the logs. Behind the screen logs will be there. You just go there and just check it out in the logs, okay, what actually happened. Okay, so this is where the first thing is, you go to the QA environment where that guy was testing, you try to reproduce the problem and check the logs behind the screen to see what has actually gone right or wrong or whatever. In the logs you can write enough details to see, okay, he passed these details inside, now I have written this, blah blah blah, kuch bhi dikhega, right? Now while you are tracing the logs, you need to check back in your local machine code, right? So in your local machine, Eclipse is there, the code is here. So but log statements might be there in the code. With that, just compare it, QA environment logs with your local machine, दोनों को hand in hand करके, okay, now this is supposed to happen, log में क्या दिख रहा है, इधर ये दिख रहा है, oh, तो somewhere you will find कि गलती है और नहीं है. ठीक है? So that is the step number one. The second thing is, you need to start fixing it in your local machine, right? You need to start fixing it in your local machine, and while you're fixing it, you need to do a local testing of that, right? The way you did the development, the same, the same way you should do the local testing, right? So locally you would be like changing the code, you might have a local server with yourself itself, so you can restart it there, you can do the testing, you can restart server a number of times, be comfortable that the code is working. Then you can even deploy it onto the development environment, be comfortable that it is also working there. Once it's all looking good, you can commit it back to the repository. Nothing but as part of the next deployment, the bug is going to be fixed. So guys, different companies will have a different cycles in which the next deployments will happen back on the QA environment. Don't overcomplicate, but yeah, talk to your team members. Okay, the bug is fixed, I'm committing it here, and they will tell you like when to commit, where to commit. Okay, so but yeah, don't get confused with all that. It is mandatory part of your day-to-day work activity. Depending upon the project or the company, you need to know the bug fix is ready, where should I commit, in which branch should I commit, and when should I commit, and when will this bug be going on to the QA environment back. Okay, maybe some companies, the DevOps team will be completely separate. The people who do the deployment on the QA environment might be independent than the developers. So you need to have the clarity, how does your project work. It differs from company to company, project to project. Okay, so just check it out with your team members. Fine, the bug is ready, where should I commit, and then how it is going to go further. Okay, fine, now it goes there and it is available back. Now the QA is like, okay, fine, so this guy has fixed the bug, they see it, they solve it, and then they actually move it further, like all done. And as an end result, we need to have, okay, as a manager, I need to have a stamp or a confirmation from the QA team, the testers, like, okay, are you confident that everything is tested and looking good. I will not trust on the developers confirmation, okay, that their role is different, right? I will trust on the QA confirmation. If I QA people, you tell me, are you confident, have you tested everything, then that is where the stage is called as QA sign off. Like we are expecting a sign off from the QA, and the QA should say, yeah, we have done the testing, it's all looking good. Nothing but if in production something goes wrong, first the QA will be caught. Okay, you tell, you did the entire testing, your role was to do the testing, how did you miss this case in production? First you will be caught, then the developer will be caught. The chain of responsibility is going to be like that. Okay, so fine, understand these pieces. Now ho jayega, then we go further. Now so far so good, right? Now next stage comes is, once the QA says yes, we are ready from our side, the next part is giving it for UAT purpose. Similar approach, nothing much worry. You would again cut some branch management is a different topic itself. Maybe I'll later speak sometime 10-15 minutes in some other session on how this Bitbucket branching will be managed. But it is, every company will have branch management. Without that, they cannot work. Basically, it has to be there. Okay, I'll just share my screen someday, and 10-15 minutes you'll get some clarity. But again, it's company specific. Okay, different companies, different rules. Okay, fine. Now moving on further. Moving on further. uh, Simple, you'll again cut some branch from whatever was the code which was QA signed off. Know the terminologies. This is how people will talk, right? So whatever was the QA signed off code, okay, from there a new branch will be cut. And this new branch, maybe they will call it as a release branch or any branch that they'll call. This branch will be built and deployed onto a UAT environment, a stage environment. UAT environment, stage environment, pre-production environment. Different companies might name it differently, but it's all the same thing. Before going to production, some more environment will be there. Okay, so fine. So it would be deployed there, and then the business guys, the product owner and the customer related people, they will be coming and they will be verifying the system. And if some bugs come as part of that, you have to again fix it and then make it available there also. And then it would be like, okay, fine, we are all ready. Chalo, let's deploy it into the production environment. Okay, and once you, that is called as the UAT sign off stage, and then you actually go ahead with the production deployment. So fine. So by the time these activities happening, there is a parallel DevOps team who is going to do the CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Nothing but guys, IT has evolved very logically, right? If this team is not there, the developer itself has to download, build, deploy, restart. So this is all just maintenance work. It will kill a lot of time. Okay, it will kill a lot of time. So basically, this is how phase by phase you have to take it further. Okay, and then okay, so this is how it is going to happen. Sometimes test environment is working fine, same code is not working. No, that's it. It's not about coding, it's about you have to really figure out what the problem is. If the code is same, it might work here also, there also. What is different? Test environment mein data is different, production mein data is different. Okay, so so you have, that means in your test environment you have not considered the production scenarios. This is what possibility happens. Fine. Okay team, so chalo, this is what it is. Now some projects will be having mm, load testing coming up. Okay, some projects will be having load testing. So just before you open it to the customers, you want to see how much of a parallel load the system can generate, bear, and like survive nicely. So there is some tool called as JMeter. As part of the JMeter tool, you can really bombard the system with more requests concurrently and see how it is working, like memory and like processing time, response time, use cases. Is it all looking good? That is nothing but load testing might happen sometimes, not for every project, but some projects really do it. And yeah, just be aware of it at least. And maybe developers have to explore the JMeter tool to do that. If not developers, sometimes QA does it. So guys, IT may be flexible to learn. Okay, don't draw yourself boundaries, and like try to learn whatever you can, wherever you can, throughout the entire process of life cycle. You will get bigger exposure to go through. Okay, fine. So this is done, and load testing will happen. Sometimes guys, there will be even security testing. So for that, companies might have a security division altogether, or third parties they might be hiring for doing a security testing. And there are some commercial tools also available, like HP45 scanner. These kind of tools are there which will run on your entire code base, and then they will try. There are inbuilt logics in such tool which will say which pieces of the code is security wise compromised, and then it will raise all those alarms, and then you have to even solve it. So different companies might have different requirements of how to deal with all these things. So but yes, that will be there. Now there, let me again say, like some companies, some projects will even have some tool called as sonar. Okay, nothing but देखो क्या हो रहा है, IT industry has evolved a lot. That's where you will find many changes which will be there to make life simple. Processes or tools are there to make the life simple. Now simple thing, right? You guys are juniors, 0 years, 2 years, 4 years, all juniors basically. You don't really know the right ways of coding in the IT industry. You might accidentally create some blunder, but who is going to suffer that blunder? The project will suffer, the client will suffer. So that means whether you do a blunder, like the project will never be okay with that. So how do we get the confidence that everything coming is good? There is a sonar tool available which is having inbuilt logic of how people should write code and all those things. Predefined rules will be there inside. That's so wonderful, right? You can take this entire sonar code, run it on your code base, and it will tell you what is correct, what is not correct, and accordingly. These are principles, rules written by some of the very experts in the IT industry, and they have made it available as a free version of sonar is possible. Okay, so it's not a commercial freeway, you can explore it for yourself. Sonar lint, sonar cube, these will be some terminologies which will come. Predefined ways of how the coding should happen will be available here. HT45 scanner, predefined ways of how security should be implemented in the coding. Even if you miss it out, the tools will catch it and tell it so that you can start fixing it. Okay, even suggestions will be there. Okay, oh, this is a problem, you can fix it up this way. So this is how I think some projects will have those things also. So everything is there to make the life simple. And once it all looks good, then a production deployment happens. Yeah, so some time will be finalized. Let's speak about that end-to-end process. You should know, specifically if you work in a small scale organization, medium scale organization, you will be part of everything. Big scale maybe a lot of divisions might be there, so you might not know when the it is going to production and all that. For example, IBMs and like big organizations, you would not even know कि वो customer को कब जाएगा. It might go 6 months from now, we don't know. But small organizations, you will get a chance to do all these things on a regular basis. Okay, fine. Now, so what has happened, you pick up a date, you know that when it is going to be deployed. Some time window will be finalized and the team is all excited. Generally we do the deployments off peak hours, so when the customers are not available. Just think, right? So if you're using Axis Bank or any other thing, HDFC, SBI, so you don't want the downtime to happen during the day activity, because your money transfer and all those activities are happening. So while you are sleeping, maybe midnight or 1 o'clock at night, something like that, they are going to do their deployments and all that. So that is one of the system available, okay, where they do the deployment. uh, so there might be some downtime when the deployment is happening. So that's the terminology, downtime. Nothing but your request will not be processed by the system. They will just put up a maintenance page that okay, use the system after xyz amount of time. This is how it is. However, there are some companies, okay, big companies, as they evolve, they implement a zero downtime systems, because they cannot afford. Like for example, guys, if you're using Google or YouTube, this is a product across the globe. It is operational 24 by 7. Yes, 24 by 7. Different companies, different time, different countries, different time zones. So even 1 hour or 30 minutes of downtime is a massive blow to the business. Okay, so then systems evolve to get a zero downtime system, and behind the screen there are a lot of complex infrastructure and all that put in place. Like high availability will be there, load balancers will be there. They will do the deployment onto one stream, but to the customers, to the live customers, the deployment has happened on stream 1 and it's all going good. To the other customers, they will do the deployment on some other stream. All the server deployments, everything will happen on some other stream. That stream is also going to be properly tested, verified. Once the entire code looks good, they will just switch the domain. Okay, the domain will be switched from this point to this point. Nothing but you would not even experience anything. It would just be like domain mapping will be changed. For example, google.com will point instead of this server to some other server. This is how it works. Okay, fine. Okay, ठीक है. तो चलो guys, so इतना हो गया. So some companies will have that. Now let me invite our, I'm sharing my Zoom link. So first of all, quickly guys, we are not going to spend a lot of time, but if life transformation members, if anybody of you has any quick questions, because we need to reach out to other people as well, so you guys can join on my Zoom. I'm sharing the link into our internal group. So you ask your questions and let's see if I can really be some help in here, and then we'll open it to our rest of the guys available in the YouTube as well. Fine. चलो, तो आधा घंटा we have spent here. Now we will go to the other pieces. ठीक है? So I'm sharing it in our season 8 related group, guys. So anybody who is having some questions, let's quickly wind it up like 10-15 minutes, and then we will jump to YouTube for further questioning. Yes. Okay, by the time team comes in here, so Pavan Kumar is there. In some company, JUnit coverage is less than 75. Then Sonar build or Jenkins build failed. Yeah, all that kind of equations will be there. So different companies will have different rules set up. Like if it is not X percentage of Sonar completed, we are not going to take the project further. Production tak nahi jayega. You have to fix all that and make it like full ready types mein. So different companies will have different rules of how to use these tools properly. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. This is how it works basically. Okay, guys. So yeah. Meanwhile, by the time if somebody connects or not, okay. So if yes, you have any questions, team, so you can just pitch it up in the YouTube channel, so we can start addressing them by the time somebody joins here. Okay. So chalo, any questions if anybody is having, start shooting in here. Let's see. आज क्या है खजाने में. Come on, guys. Come on, come on. चलो फटाफट करते हैं team. Don't take a lot of time. कुछ भी let it be silly questions also. Nobody is judging anybody. किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है, मेरे को भी ज्यादा कुछ जितना भी है, whatever I know I'm trying to share. Whatever doubts you have, confusions you have, you just ask it basically. Okay, there is no right or wrong, so either it works or it does not work. Even if something is not clear based on whatever 1 week which we have spent together, if something is not clear, then we will be doing it. Okay. Okay, so Pavan is having a question. I am good in coding, but I am unable to convert functional requirements to coding. Uh, okay, then how do you say you are good in coding, Pavan? Okay, that's what is coding, converting functional requirements into coding. That's what is coding. So if you're not good in that, that means you really have to re-question your coding abilities. That means then what you can do with your code. This is what it is. So you're not good in coding. Okay, coding means defining and building the functional requirements. This is what means coding. Okay, and how to build it is you have to spend enough time, understand what the requirement is, and then you have to actually spend time in coding it, testing it, whether you are able to get the similar results. Like this is how it is. So whatever they want, you have to think, Google, write code to meet the same requirements. So every project will have a different requirements, but your metrics to judge whether you are good in coding is based on the functional completion. Okay, fine. So Akshay is having a question. What is the expectation of DevOps 3 years experience? Okay, guys, basically from a DevOps team, we will like that they should have some knowledge about AWS related services. Okay, about the AWS nodes will be there. So the basic of AWS is definitely required, about how it happens and all that thing. That is one AWS infrastructure knowledge. Okay, now the second thing which is required is you need to know about CI/CD process, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Nothing but Jenkins should be very hands-on to you. You should be able to do any configurations in Jenkins. Okay. Second, you should be able to even uh, connect with Bitbucket. You need to understand the branching strategy as well. Okay, the first is AWS, second is Jenkins comfortability, third is understanding the code repository and the process of the company. So with 3 years of experience, we will assume that you should already know all these pieces. Okay, you should already know all these pieces. That's what is your measure of saying like, okay, DevOps related activity. Okay, and furthermore, guys, Linux and commands will be also required. Nothing but shell scripting, thoda bahut basic is required, because you guys will be connecting to machines, running some commands, cron jobs, and all of the drama is going to be there. Backups creations. So all that, like these three things: Ubuntu related Linux commands, shell scripting a bit. Next, Jenkins should be very hands-on, very good in Jenkins. Okay, next AWS related, you should know the basics so that you can work on it. You should not be like stuck. I don't know what AWS is. Okay, you have to be working on it, creating machines, understanding how much core or CPU and the RAM required. So all these things will come as part of that. Okay, fine. And all these things are expected, right? From 3 years of experience, it is expected. The depth of knowledge might differ. Okay, तो 3 years से कम expect करेंगे, but the same factors from 5 years we'll expect it on a very high professional end. Okay, but 3 years से even if he is like, learning curve should be there. You should know the base, and you like okay, now I can explore and find out the new things. Okay, but with seniors, I would already expect they should already know how to do a lot of things without consuming a too much time of exploring. Fine. Next, okay, is Angular or React JS should know or not required in 3 years of experience, guys. Okay, if you are in a UI world, I would highly recommend it to know the UI frameworks. Okay, if you're in the UI world, the HTML, CS, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are basic. Apart from this, yeah, when you say 3 years of experience, apart from this, you should really get a hands-on and very comfortable with either Angular is fine or React.js is fine. So in the project both will not be available, either this or that. And I think accordingly the market is also hunting for one specific related techniques. So I think you can just target to one to start with. It can be Angular, because I'm seeing many projects in Angular. React projects are also there, but I'm seeing a lot of projects. Many of my friends are working in Angular JS itself. So I think market openings for Angular will be like more projects running there with Angular. Okay, so be really good in Angular, it would be giving the thing. And once you spend more time, once you are comfortable with Angular, then you can learn the React JS, but focus one by one and then take it forward. Okay, Suresh? Yes. Now moving on further, microservices, 2 years experience required. Okay, guys, dekho, one very important thing which everybody, all the listeners right now, you need to understand ki there is nothing mandatory in IT. Okay, nothing mandatory in IT. Everything depends upon the project, everything depends upon the company. What frameworks will you use, what technologies will you use, what things you will have, everything just depends there. Okay, this is what it is. Now the problem here is, okay, the point between all of these things comes like when you are so maybe you are into a project where microservices might not be there at all, and even you might have a 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience, the project does not have microservice, so it's not required. There will be some case, even as a fresher, you have microservice there. Even as a fresher, there is microservices there right in the project. That means you need to know something there, right? So basically, guys, nothing is mandatory in IT. Whether you know Spring or not, microservices or not, Hibernate or not, or anything else or not, nothing is mandatory. Everything depends upon your project. Okay, that's the basic question. Nothing is required, everything depends upon the project. But now it's a recommendation. Okay, I would recommend, if people are having 2 years, 3 years of experience, I would recommend that Spring Boot microservices have the knowledge, because in the market many projects are right now working on these things, and it would sound pretty good. Spring MVC is also there. Okay, so Spring MVC microservices, learn it so that you can switch job, give more interviews. But it could be possible, if this is not there and you are working in just some other framework project, or not even Spring Boot, a regular Spring based software, so maybe not with microservices also, and even with 4 years of experience also, that projects also exist. But I would say if you are claiming any experience and if you have time, better to learn this, because it is going to give a lot of value add. Career switching options are also going to be nice, and this is something now very common. Lightweight hote, a lot of benefits with microservices. They are lightweight in nature, independently deployable, doesn't impact other pieces of the system. They specifically talk to their own database. So because of all these advantages, na, life बहुत simple हो जाती है. Okay, so thanks Nalini, Karthik, for that. Yes, guys, any more questions based on whatever project we spoke today, whatever we spoke earlier? Okay, so I think in the waiting room there is some Vaibhav available. Let me just pull him in. We'll just talk about with him for some time. Hello, Vaibhav. Hello. Hello, Vaibhav. Your microphone is not working. Meanwhile, guys, if you have any other questions, guys, pura ka pura IT industry, guys, I have worked in all the phases. I work with like a 30-member team right now. I know who does what. I know what is the expectation from which experience level in which domain. UI, server, QA, DevOps, automation, manual, business review, product manager, scrum master. I can really like tell regarding all those areas as well. Okay, so just any questions you have, you just shoot it. Try to make the most of my knowledge and my exposure. Okay, next Rahul Pal is having one question. Okay, Rahul, yeah, so how to deal with internal politics? Okay, now देखो guys, there are different companies, It's a human psychology. What is politics? It's a human psychology. It has nothing to do with IT industry or not. Every company will have their own nature and cultures. Okay, you should mainly worry about what kind of culture is there in your company. Okay, so first, talking very precise, if you happen to get into company, it's mindset of the people. What will happen is once they reach to certain position, there are two ways. So initially, generally, initially, everybody in the IT industry is very hardworking, but then over a period of time now different people get different thought processes. Some people start thinking very great, some people thinking average, some people very negative mindset. So that keeps changing from person to person based on whatever they are exposed to. Okay, whatever circumstances they are exposed to. Now two possibilities, guys, majorly. Okay, one possibility is either he will think very big broad growth mindset, other thing is where he'll become a dirty mindset. And you need to know ki with the power of the mind, whatever you keep practicing you really become that. So that is where internal politics might also come up as part of this. Okay, fine. Now how to deal with it? Dekho, pretty simple thing. You need to have the basics right, guys. Okay, always work in respecting each other manner. Okay, giving credit to each other, valuing each other. Even if, guys, there are times, okay, where even if single-handedly you have done something very big, but still share your credit with other people. Okay, hey, thank you, we worked in collaboration. Your even slight, even if small inputs are coming from the other team members, even consider that. Okay, this is how you have to deal with internal politics. You have to respect them, you have to value them, and then they will start not seeing you as a rival but as a friend there itself. Okay, and this is the starting point. And you guys to have to see through one thing. If this becomes repetitive, if it is repeating, and if they are not giving you much opportunities, it's better to switch the job in there, or somehow try to talk to the higher management and skip this kind of layer. You can try to do that, but initially try to, in a very soft manner, deal with them and try to answer them nicely. Okay, mix with them, respect them, value them. And if even if it is not working, then maybe switch the organization. But I would prefer that initially you deal with it. Okay. um, Fine, let's move on next. How many less module of spring enough for doing interview? Okay, Veer Singh has asked this question. Yeah, spring is such a vast framework. Okay, guys, what I would prefer. Okay, first, core Java, very good. Okay, so your core Java knowledge should be very good, web knowledge should be very good. And when it now comes to spring core, spring MVC, these two are enough for interviews. Spring core and spring MVC, baki sub is optional. Spring core should be really good, dependency injections, basic all that. And spring MVC is really required. Focus on these two things. Baki spring boot, JDA and JPAs, whatever rest of the pieces are, वो बाद में कर सकते हो. Core and MVC, just focus on that. ठीक है? Fine. Thank you, Sonu, for asking that. Yeah, Varsha, you're in, but let me just quickly address a few things here, and then we will jump. Okay, just give a few time thing, Varsha. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So now let me move on further. Veer okay. Which tools enough for who? Veer, देखो. Point is development tools. Every company uses it. So you just need to know that basically. Okay. Now what are these tools? Logging. So log4j, SLF4j mandatory. Build tool, Maven, Gradle, something mandatory. IDE, Eclipse or something mandatory. Working with a repository, it could be Bitbucket or anything else, again mandatory. Okay, connecting to the database, so MySQL Workbench or SQL developers, mandatory. Connecting to any machines, so Linux based commands and all, again mandatory. So these are the basic things every project will have. Working with Jira or some other like project management tool, mandatory. So when you have experience, doesn't matter if, even if you have 1 year of experience, if you have worked in any project, this is thing is part of it, and you cannot skip it. Baki tools like Jenkins, Sonar, those are all optional, guys, not required to spend much time. But whatever comes in a development life cycle, yes, definitely you should be doing that. Okay, now yes, Varsha, so what is your question, Varsha?
Yeah, my question is that
Is it
what like
possible,
company will.
wait, Varsha, is it possible to turn on your video somehow? Possible?
Actually,
ओके नहीं है तो नहीं है, इट्स फाइन, चलो अनोनिमस अनोनिमस बात कर, दैट्स फाइन. द रीजन बीइंग कि ओके इफ योर वीडियो इज ऑन तो स्क्रीन के ऊपर कुछ जाता नहीं, बट लेट मी एटलीस्ट पिन तो योर नेम विल बी कमिंग अप. ओके या ठीक है वर्षा, सो या शूट योर क्वेश्चन प्लीज. यस.
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, what company will expect from 4 years of experience candidate?
Okay, so देखो 4 years of experience, तो देखो basically what happens is every experience segment team, so everybody listening, every experience segment expects a particular section, right? So when you say 4 years of experience, the first already assumption is any functional requirement which is provided to you, you should be able to independently solve it and build up the application. That's already understood. मतलब वो करने नहीं आएगा तो it's going to be a big time problem. So expectation, functional requirements, you should be able to 100% achieve it. It might not be as per very great standards and all, but completion to full ho jana chahiye. That is one. Okay. Now the second thing is we need you to very strongly think about the design aspect of system. Whether you're good in it or not in it doesn't matter much, but we want you people 4 years of experience to think in terms of design, like performance, modularity, scalability, how to write the code, is it rightly organized, easy for maintenance, easy for reusability, right usage of design pattern. We want you people to think like that, and while you are thinking it, along with it, we want you have to take your juniors along with you as well. So with 4 years
Okay.
to 6 years, the very focus will become like, okay, how do you build the best system the way it is expected to be. Functional to kaam ho gaya, but now you have to get it into more of design, some security aspect of the things, and R&D wo sab to chalte rahega, but you should become fast in doing that. Your brain should not be stuck at places. Immediate thinking should happen, and then you can go back and like juniors ko bhi you have to drive it along, because whatever functionally you know, you have to train them, plus design ideas you can share with others. So this would be the basic the expectation from you: design, security, and then mentoring even the juniors. So these things will come, and whatever problems are stuck, you should be able to like more quickly solve it. And we are not expecting you to be like very great in design or all, but thought process should be there. Without that, if you do it, it's a problem. Okay. And they go by 6 years, so by 6 years, 7 years, when you reach experience, then design becomes mandatory. Right? You should be able to just design it without thinking also. But with 4 it starts, you're at the beginning of that kind of thought process. Okay. Debugging skills again, वो सब देखो, whatever you do as 3 years experience, वो सब में तो perfection चाहिए होता है. So debugging your application, finding problems is required. Okay, ठीक है.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varsha, you can still be here in the call. No need to drop off as well. Take.
Yeah, sure.
And how is
One
after
question
five?
is there actually.
Sorry, come again.
One more question is there.
Varsha, एक के लिए तेरे को थोड़ा. We'll come back to it again. ठीक है, तो let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that
sure.
and then we'll do it. Okay. Next, Rahul का एक question है. While switching the company, what are the things you need to keep in mind? Nice, very important question. First, learning curve, guys. Okay, learning curve, ki whichever company you are getting into, okay, ask to the HR, okay, what kind of work I will be added into. Okay, what are the technologies, what kind of work will be there. And you should try to go in a company where there is going to be a lot of coding kind of work, and some trending technologies are there like microservices, Spring, Python, and all those happening projects are will give you a more to learn. That is one. Okay. Now second factor here is, yes, definitely money is also going to be a criteria for many people. Yes, so you also should to consider that factor, at least in the beginning of your careers. Try to, knowledge is first priority, but money maybe you should not lag very behind, otherwise आगे जाके problem हो जाएगा. If guys, okay, giving you example, if just for 1-2 lakhs, even if some company is giving you more to learn but 2 lakhs less than the other company, go with the one which will give you more learning, because in a long run it is going to be useful. Okay, so these two things, and the third thing could become the culture and the feedback of the company. So you can just go to Google reviews or Glassdoor reviews and just check it out there, like what is the culture, like how people are treated, how like pressure kitna chal raha hai, layoff rates kitne hai, like is it like hire and fire happening in the company, and what is the opinion of people. So this is the third aspect which you should consider. And okay, so these are the primary area. Okay, technical curve, दूसरा hire and fire and the reviews of other people about the company, then you see whether that is okay with you. And third is the money aspect. So focus on all these three. And people internally ना एक respect culture होना चाहिए. In the feedbacks you will find it कि how do other people respect you, not respect you, वो सारा का सारा will come as part of that. ठीक है? Fine. Next, moving on. Which architecture is mostly used? Okay. देखो guys, for a very long time MVC started working, and अभी जाके microservice architecture आने लग गया. So yeah, this is what it is. Okay, services, taking it down, splitting it up with microservices. The next stage of microservices is Docker and Kubernetes, where like auto scaling the system will go to that area. So infrastructure में आगे बहुत बढ़ जाएगा. Okay, so application wise I think MVCs and this Spring Boot related microservice architecture, with this the development world will be over, and from there onwards infrastructure mein there is a lot to grow there. Okay, fine. Moving on further, Suresh Maheshwani says, as experienced guy, if something we don't get in the work, what to do? Okay, guys, dekho, first of all, doesn't matter whether it's fresher or whether it's experience. Even like dekho, nobody expects everybody to know everything. Even though you are might be having 7 years experience, even 10 years experience, do not know everything. But guys, the thing is ki bhai, a commitment is required. Okay, so what do we mean with that? Okay, so commitment as in there should be an effort from your side to give your best shot. Okay, there should be an effort from your side to do your best shot, and other people to should see that effort. Matlab, you should not get blank. Okay, if you're not able to do something, at least put some efforts in, you will get something out of it. You might not get the proper final solution, but you will get something out of it. Take that something out, and then you talk to other people. Here I'm stuck, here I'm not able to get this thought, that thought. But you take your initial analysis and then discuss with other people. Then when multiple people think, some ideas will come. If guys within the team, if not happening, even raise it out to your team lead so he can get some support from external teams as well. Okay, so this is what it happens. But don't make it your own personal problem. Initially do R&D, reach out, and then talk to 2-3 of your colleagues. If that is not working, further reach out to your managers, leads. They can get architect support or anything from outside the team as well. But this is what IT is, a communication world. If by the end you are not able to do it, the project suffers. So understand, like as a manager, I don't want that to happen. So but first you have to try, you have to solve. If that is not happening, talk to the colleagues. If that is not working, raise it with the managers to get external support, and eventually it will happen. And you have to keep learning over a period of time. Okay, so yeah, this is what it is. Fine. Now Varsha, coming back to you. What's the question?
Like I want to ask, which will be the most formal way to communicate with your manager? So like
Okay.
suppose you are not getting any reply from the mail itself, so can you call them directly?
Yeah, the point is, yeah, there would be this communicator tools, right? The chat communication and all that. Yeah, so it's is that not there?
Yeah, Teams is also available, but if there also if you are not getting reply, so
Okay,
can,
okay. First. Dekho. Guys, communication is the very important factor of the IT industry. Mails is a very traditional approach, guys. Okay, nowadays Teams chat. Why is chat there? So that you can throw messages. Okay,
hmm,
if the reply is not coming from that person, give a time. Again, after 1 minute, 1 hour, follow up with that person. Hey, I'm stuck here. I need your support here. Follow up. Okay, it's his responsibility to answer you somewhere or the other. If he has missed it out somehow, guys, if the managers don't solve the problem, then who will do, right? So chase them 2-3 times. Okay, and then if that is not happening, that's where the morning stand-ups and all will be there, right? Your reporting
yeah,
person will be there. Just tell it like, I'm not getting response from the manager, so I cannot really continue on this one. I need this solution first, then only. So whoever is the chain of reporting, you need to talk to that guy. Because if the manager is very up, which may there is a layer coming up, those people are expected to work very closely with you. So if the manager is not responding and you're waiting on them, then you have to chase the other people. So video call them, audio call them, chat call them. Don't be afraid. If your work is blocked,
mhm,
people
yeah,
have to solve it for you. Yeah, this is what it is.
yeah,
Fine. And this is we expect transparency, man, in the system. देखो, different companies might have different cultures, but if the managers are not transparent, that means they're not doing a good job there, basically. And which is your right. So you need to get the clarity of whatever you want. So you should not back out. You push them, basically. That's fine. Even if that's not the right way for them, but yeah, that's the right way for the industry. So push them, ask for your answers. Fine. Next, moving on further with our chat here. Okay. So okay, if Mr. Teja is asking a question. Okay, first of all, I am just drawing a line in here, so we will take only the questions till this point. Okay, so after this we'll not take the questions. So I've drawn a line there in the comment. ठीक है, अभी चलो मिस्टर तेजा के पास अभी चलते हैं. ठीक है. Fine. So if go gap has experience, how to start work and how to manage. Okay, देखो. Yeah, so somehow the life situation has happened that you're not in the IT industry. Okay. But first of all, I think before going there, you need to be really good in this technical process, whatever we spoke yesterday, today, and even in the further coming IT agile workshop, when we speak about, you should be very comfortable with this, because you might know about your spring coding and all that, but you're not aware of this process, and that creates a lot of confusion in the initial days for interacting, for talking, nervousness, lack of confidence, and इसी में पता चल जाता है कि whether you have really worked or not worked. Okay, this is what matters. So first of all, technical process and the SDLC, everybody claiming app as experience, you need to mandatorily learn that, become good in that before even getting into the first project. That's what is experience. Okay, fine. Once that is done, second thing, okay, you might not really know, for example, these questions coming, right, how to get better in like functional coding of the application, or designing, or coming with approaches. They go for these things, it comes only with time, guys. You have to spend time in thinking. And that's what, guys, as part of the second day itself, I already gave the answer for that. What you need to make your brain to think. Okay, the brain abhi kya ho gaya, rust ho gaya hai, spoon feeding chal raha hai. In your colleges that happened, in maybe training centers that happening, ready made work aa raha hai, and IT doesn't give you anything ready made. You have to solve it by yourself. Nothing but your brain should start working. How will the brain work? When you start thinking. And thinking karne ke liye kya, guys, build more mini projects. Whatever you are right now, maybe going to classes of Amir Pate or online tutorial anywhere, you should be able to code the same thing without looking at that. Coding karo, the brain will work, exceptions will come, google those exceptions, solve it. So you should become ready there. Okay, there is no trick or something. You, if that's the problem, you need to work on the problem. So this is what it would be. Try to focus on these two independently, try to solve it. But now let's talk about very precise, as you have to put very hard work in the initial days, because you don't know these factors, right? The process seekhna hai, how to code and all that, wo seekhna hai. So give your best shot. Don't just go with the flow of the people, like they are working only 8 hours, 9 hours, so you also want to do that. Don't do all such things. Spend as maximum time as possible to just get better in all of those things, and spend enough time, and be communication wise very good, Teja. Okay, and everybody, so don't be nervous and scared. If you're not clear with something, talk to your colleagues, talk to your manager. Hey, yahan pe there is some confusion, I'm not comfortable with this, can you explain this thing again to me? Because that lack of communication causes more bigger problems in the long run. So have good communication, put everything short, get your brain to work. That will happen. The more you code, the more you think, the more your brain will function. Okay, and then process may really be good. And this is how you have to do that. Full hard work, and checkpoints are this. Okay, next, what is this? What is claims appeals in hospital domain? My question is, how do I know these terms in a hospital domain or a banking domain? They go simple. Every project, every domain is different. So I'm not aware of claims and appeals because I never worked in a hospital domain. So whenever you join a company, you, whatever domain it is, if you're not aware of something, you need to tell it to your leads or the managers, I need a domain KT, because this all things are new, I've never heard about all such things. So can you arrange some sessions where I can have it? So they will arrange sessions, they will give you some documentations to read. And yeah, that is the starting point. Once you become aware of that, relate it with your project code, and once it is there in the project code, yeah, you can then further make sense out of it. But ask for domain related KT about at least the key factors. They might say Google it, but the thing is, googling will take a lot of time, and you might Google things which are not even required for your project. You just tell the same thing. Yeah, I'm doing that already. But if somebody can give me maybe a 2 hours or a 4 hour session to talk about how we are doing all these things in our project, it would really speed up a lot of things. So this is how politely just talk it through. Okay, so which will make out fine. Next, Akshay Buse, Maven, Gradle, HTTP, Unit, JUnit, Agile, Jira, Mockito. Yeah, guys, all these are the tools, and spend some time. All those things are required basically in your IT related life as part of the development cycle itself. Okay, so be comfortable with this. Okay. Now moving on further, Ratnesh Namdev. Okay, as a fresher, what's the thing are required at entry level and how to overcome the fear of facing technical interview? Dekho guys, one thing from freshers, we basically expect that unko kuch nahi aayega. Honestly speaking, right? They are freshers. They have not even seen the IT industry. They will not know standards. They will not know how exactly to code. They might not know how to even meet the functional requirements. So that is the expectation. First thing, clarifying. Okay. Then what do we look for? Okay. We want them, like whatever they might have done. Okay. So as a fresher, even fresher comes in, right? So we talk about, okay, how did you pass your internship? What was your mini projects in your college? Okay, what are the technologies that you have learned in your college or your practice or whatever? So we first check that what they have worked upon. Okay, second thing, whatever they say they have worked upon, we ask enough questions that do you have clarity on all of those things which you worked upon, or is it a copy paste, or do you have that knowledge or not? So guys, it's a completely up to you. If you say you have worked on XYZ things, it's your responsibility to be good in that XYZ thing. Because if otherwise, like, we will be like, okay, he has just copied pasted or kisi friend ne help kar diya hai, that mindset is not going to work in the IT industry. So we check whatever you say you know, do you really know it? That's the focus of even your interviews. We check your core Java skills. If you're in Java or any programming which you say, we check those skills required. Plus, from your work perspective, we would see whatever you say, your mini projects or your internship projects were. So, what is your understanding level of that? Like, to what level you involved in all of that? And guys, if your involvement is very less, maybe then you're not the right person then, because we want people who can really involve more, understand, they know what they are doing, maybe right, maybe wrong. So something like that will be required. Okay. Now, further thing, we want, like the question itself is saying how to overcome fear of facing technical interview. Guys, simple question. If a fresher or anybody, if you doubt yourself, how can the company or how can a manager of 30 member trust you or count on you? I will be like, this person doesn't have confidence, man. Like, he's scared, he's nervous, not having the confidence. And even if I take him in my project, I give him something, if he's not able to do, if he's again in the same doubts, he's not going to build the right software, which is a bigger problem. I will not even hire such people. Scared, nervous, like, I will make them comfortable in interview, but I'll try to see whether there is some worth in that. But if you don't have confidence in your abilities, let me tell you, the world will not have confidence in you. So you need to learn and become bold in yourself. You need to establish your identity. Then others will see, oh, the banda mein dum lag raha hai. This person looks confident. He has worked on something, be it whatever. And now you're clearly telling what you know, what you does not know. What are you doing to learn the things which you does not know? This kind of a learning mindset will be there. If you give you a problem, you should not be like, "Arey, I'm jam, I don't know." Kuch to karke try to solve it. We need to see that hunger for getting to a solution. We need to see that hunger for, okay, I'll do something, but I'll get the answer. Okay, kuch to karke. We need to see that spark in you, not the nervousness, not the scary nature. As fresher is a live wire, it's a fire on the floor basically, and we need to see that excitement. I want to learn, I want to contribute, all of that thing. So we need that energy to be seen in you, that confidence ki bhai chalo karte, even if I don't know, let's do it type wala attitude. And yeah, whatever you say you know, so you should really know that. That's the expectation from freshers. So it's up to you what all your technologies or what are you add in your projects. So you have to justify that. There is no other expectations, guys. Okay, fine, क्योंकि बाकी सब तो people anyways train करती है, right? Okay, thank you, Ratnesh Namdev, for that. Let's moving on further. Okay, so Pawan, if I want to good in designing Java classes and tables, what should I do? Googling is the only way. Okay, how to design object oriented programming, how to apply design patterns. So there would be a lot of articles and tutorial points available with that. With proper case study, people are going to explain all those things. To read the case study, read, see how the solutions are coming, spend daily 1 to 2 hours of time in doing all these things. Okay, understanding the use cases, the case study, and how people are designing it. what are the right ways of designing in Java, right ways of implementing design patterns. Lot of links you will find. Spend time in reading all of those links. Slowly and steadily a thought process will evolve in you, and then you will be able to very nicely code it. And whenever a functional requirement comes, so whatever you are learning, try to apply it as part of that, and you will find in a week or 2 weeks some thoughts will start connecting, and you will be like, okay, can I do it like this, can I do it like that? You will find the self changes happen. But this is the only process. You have to do it, you have to spend some time in thinking about it, and Google is the only way by which you can get a lot of links for going further. Okay, fine, let's move on further. Akshay Bhuse has like, what is RESTful app? Okay, RESTful application. What is the difference between Spring Boot versus RESTful versus microservices? Itna kuch nahi guys. Okay, first of all, Spring Boot provides a way of building up a microservices application. Okay, Spring Boot provides a way of building up microservices application. Okay, web services, it's a terminology like any endpoint. Okay, what is a web service? A service running on web. Okay, any endpoint. Now it could be REST endpoint or a SOAP endpoint or any other protocol, but it's an endpoint which is available publicly on internet. If you can call that and it can give you some value back, that is a web service. A service on web is a web service. Spring Boot is used for building up like small microservices based or like independent quick applications with embedded Tomcat in that. Lightweight services are very easily possible in microservices. So using Spring Boot you can develop web service is one way. And while doing guys, REST is one option, SOAP is one option. So you can effectively use REST endpoints are very common, accepting JSON request, giving JSON back, and following the HTTP standards. So that's what is the REST terminology basically. So web services can be offered in multiple domains. REST is one way of doing it, and using Spring Boot you can actually build it up. So this is where it comes through. This ties all the three things together. Okay. Next, Rakesh Soni. In banking project, which company, what company expects from developer as a 3 years experience? देखो, the basic technology wala knowledge to will be there just like any other project with 3 years experience. So we are not asking here, we are specifically talking banking project. We want sense of maturity with people. Sense of maturity, banking is sensitive, right? It's about money, it's about bank accounts. So we need matured people to work in banking applications. Data security, okay, that should be good. Not with an evil intention ki they will go and mess up the system here and there. Giving access to them to production sounds risky, right? People will not give you. So thoda sa matured way of thinking should be there. More responsible way of thinking should be there. Careless people, not the place to be. So if you ignore things, if the planning wise you are not good, so those, it will become risky. So you need to be better planned, more maturity, the way you talk, the way you hold responsibility. If something goes wrong in by you, take the responsibility to yourself. Okay, it's my fault, I did it, I need to fix it. Ownership, responsibility, maturity. And like, yeah, this is what every project will do. But banking mein ye thoda sa aur zyada ho jayega. मतलब that might become a criteria for not hiring you, because careless banda hai yaar, kuch kar lega by mistake, so who will take the responsibility, right? So you cannot be like that. So yeah, ownership level should be very good in a banking project apart from the technical stuff basically. How to explain previous company projects? Okay, uh, देखो, we will be actually talking something about the project part, but since a question popped up here, in later sessions we'll talk about it, but since a question popped up here, um, two things, primarily two things required for project. First, understanding of what the end-to-end project is about. Okay, which is functional expectation. Functionally you should be able to understand what the end-to-end project was. Even though you worked on one piece, but you should have the knowledge about the end-to-end system. That shows your involvement, curiosity to learn and know the end-to-end process. That is the first part. So function, what is your project? So you should be able to explain it in a functional layman world language, okay, at a high level. And if they ask more questions, then deeper down into it. But the second important thing will be, okay, what did you do for the project? And this is where people will spend a lot of time. Okay, what was your involvement in the project? So you have to tell what did you actually do, and it would not be about the process part, guys. We want to see how technically you involved in the project. So like designing the database, building up the services, what modules were with you, what kind of logic you were writing, okay, how you were interacting, how were the demos happening for the project, your involvement from the technical standpoint in the project. So that will be the expectation, and then knowing about the end-to-end project at a high level, and based on then whatever you are you say to is answer, we try to identify from there to check how in depth you know something. So when you say that I have worked on that, so in the interview it will become a conversation. We from there itself will start asking you people, acha to yahan pe you are saying like this, but I would logically think, hey, but there is this problem with this now, so how would you deal with that? And when you say it's already a production code, so somebody in your team, you or somebody should have thought about that problem. If that is not happening, that means there is gap in the projects which you have built up. So logically, that's what experienced people will be catching up more loopholes based on whatever conversation you're doing as part of your technical contribution in the project. Okay? So fine, but yeah, this is what it is. Functional overview. Second, technical, your involvement in the system. Okay. फाइन 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 ओके वैभव एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन है चलो इतना करते हैं फिर क्लोज करते हैं इट्स लाइक 10:47 या देयर इज वन न्यूज़ आई जस्ट गिव इट बाय द एंड ऑफ दिस वैभव क्वेश्चन so Vaibhav is asking a question in maintenance project everything is developed then what is the role of us in maintenance project okay now देखो guys there have been some cases where in the IT industry I have heard a thing कि when the project goes to production नहीं अक्षय अभी we are not going to ask you that question ठीक है अक्षय अक्षय भूसे ये वाला लास्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा we are done वैभव का लास्ट क्वेश्चन ले रहे हैं अपन ठीक है fine okay now let's talk about वैभव वाला क्वेश्चन back again कि in maintenance project कैसे वाला काम okay fine so देखो somewhere I have many people in IT they believe कि the actual project starts once it is deployed in production. What does that mean? It is basically ki the business actually starts when the project is live. Nothing but when the customers are using, that is where the game begins, major. So if you just think like a developer, you will not even connect with this statement. But the actual business starts when the project goes to production and when the project goes into a maintenance phase. That is where the actual work of the project starts. Before than that, even if compromised project might be there, not fully very great product, but people will be like, complete the application, let's go to production, let's start making money, then we will improve the project. So some business owners have that kind of attitude, develop only minimum viable product, MVP, which is nothing but the smallest version which is sufficiently required to make business in production. Develop that, deploy it in the system, and after that incrementally we will keep developing new and new features. So Vaibhav, even if there are some questions already available, okay, there are some questions or some features which are already available in production, still you will find that still a parallel process of development will keep happening, and that is because of the current world, because it's working in an agile manner. So people don't wait for 1 year or 2 year for the project, they do deployments in like first 3 months, and from there every week or every 2 weeks releases will keep happening. So development will also keep happening and maintenance will also keep happening. This is where I have seen many projects happening in the current times. So even after that it would be there. But now if you are specifically for the production support job, then the life is different. Okay, but otherwise you can be still in the development team for something which is running. For example, my project is in production since past 2 years, still we are doing development and we have next 3 years of development still there in the picture. There is a lot of stuff there. Okay, so it's a big roadmap basically. So but yeah, incrementally it keeps happening. But when you are in a production support job, that is a different role basically. Okay, production support वालों का काम क्या होता है primarily? First, production environment में any challenge which is coming up, we should be able to fix it as soon as possible. Right? If any customer complaints are coming, like, hey, I'm trying to transfer money, but this is not happening, OTP is not coming to me, this is not going, that is not happening. So such kind of queries will keep, yeah. So companies will have, for example, if you're using any mobile application or internet bandwidth, whenever you face problems, you call their customer support, right? So the queries go in, and if the problem is genuine, they raise it to the technical team, and that first goes via the production support team, where it would be raised to them. They will be studying it. Okay, what went wrong? Then you would try to find the solution by yourself. And if it is just something which you can do, you do it. Otherwise, you delegate it with the development team. So log churning should be really good. Your database monitoring should be really good. The health monitoring of the system should be really good. Like CPU spikes, you should be having the knowledge to actually debug. Okay, what are the issues? So debugging में आता है database connections देखना, logs of the system monitoring it, how many threads are coming, is the application in a stuck state, or did some spikes come up, and these kind of. The production support role is a different. But even though it is a maintenance project, parallel development might happen, but production support expects different thing from you people. Okay, so I think yes, we are done with the questions. We are done with the questions here. Okay, तो अक्षय भूसे, महेश एंड राहुल, बस हो गया. अभी अपन डे क्लोज करते. 10:50 ऑलरेडी हो गया गाइस. कितना करेंगे? ठीक है. अच्छा चलो ठीक है. Since we are connected now, let's just speak it out. Okay. How to explain previous company projects? If I put fake experience, then how to explain? This is a very big answer for this one. So let's not pick it up right now. We'll talk about, I'll arrange another FAQ section. So these kind of major questions, you should put it previously basically. And I already have answered as part of the, somebody else asked the question, how to put the, explain the project. And this is how it should work. So the same applies here as well. Okay. Next, Mahesh says, during interview, I explained project to interview. Okay. Previously, that project explained someone. In that situation, he assumes me also fake. So in that situation, how to crack the interview? Okay, देखो guys, coincidence. अगर भाई नसीब, if your destiny is bad, even if you are sitting on a camel, then also the dog will catch your leg. There was a saying in Hindi, right? Okay, ऊँट पे भी बैठा तो भी कुत्ता पैर पकड़ लेगा. So point is, few things are not in our control. Okay, few things are not in our control. Okay, so if whatever project you have, if there is somebody before you who has already done that, and if that interview connects it, okay, point is guys, whatever your story is, you stick to your story and just tell that itself. And if he cross questions कि he did it, तो बोला I don't know, but yeah, this is what I did it. And अगर उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा, if you feel कि some he is getting irritated with that situation and all, तो just tell him कि yes actually, so I worked on, मतलब मेरा friend इस पे काम कर रहा था, but due to job related concerns and all, so I just got some knowledge from him, and I am just putting it in my resume because I just have awareness of that. And basically मेरा दोस्त ने काम किया था, and I just have the knowledge of the same, so I can answer. And financial situations were really bad. थोड़ा सा emotional story वहाँ पे डाल दो, and मतलब yeah, don't let the situation become irritating or frustrating for that person. First stick with your point, उसके बाद if he starts digging it, थोड़ा सा इमोशनल कर लो उसको और रुला दो साले को. And yeah, that's how you have to do. उसके बाद guys, it's destiny. So if he's like not convinced and fine, nahi, we cannot do it because it's fake, so fine, that's okay. So next company, next preparation, and hunting back again. It's not the last company, right? This is how it is. Okay, fine, 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 fine. And Rahul says thank you so much for your valuable time and spending this session, okay, giving us value. So it's a pleasure. Basically, I'm seeing this kind of gap in the IT industry. This gap is there. Mm, Even working people do not have the right mindset and the right knowledge. And somewhere I feel like after spending 10 years in the IT industry and after interviewing so many people, I expect people to be good. That is where, guys, if you see every of my session and all of my talks, whatever it is, I don't give you cheat codes. I don't give you cheat codes, and I'm not giving you guys shortcuts. I'm just giving you the right way of working, the right responsibility, ownership. I'm giving you what you should be so that you can be a benefit to the IT industry. This is what I want you people to make. So I'm not giving you shortcuts. Guys, कर लेंगे. कुछ ना कुछ करके interview भी crack कर लेंगे. But after going there, people like me have to suffer because of you. Because you are not good in your technical skills. Then you get into our projects and then we have to suffer because of it. And then it is like, निकाल भी नहीं सकते, रख भी नहीं सकते. Then what should we do? We get into such cases, right? And I don't want that to happen. And I want that at least in the beginning itself, if you have this thought process, maybe shortcuts lay low, yeah, financial situations, but somewhere if any of my word is clicking to you, become responsible, become responsible. Okay, more than shortcuts, the right way of working is required. And my all sessions, I tell you that, I tell you to grow by practice, by working hard, and this is how you should, because that's the right way of doing. Baki everything is going to fail in the end. Okay. Chalo, thank you everybody. And guys, okay, just one short updates. So tomorrow, being Sunday evening, we will just be giving a off tomorrow. So tomorrow there is no session. Okay. Next we will be meeting back Monday 9:30 back again. Okay, where we are going to speak about how to use the social media world, the current social media world, to create more job opportunities. So it's going to be very useful session for everyone. Okay, again, you might be like, every session is a useful session. What should Arfan? Okay, so every session is a useful session, because this is what I'm trying to peel all the extract and give to you people. Monday when we meet, we would be exploring how to use the social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and how exactly should be your strategy to create job opportunities for yourself using this dominated social media in the current time. It would give a lot of insights for a lot of people. Okay, that will come. And guys, one more news for you people. He, after spending like 10 years in the industry and exploring a lot, working with leaders, business owners, CEOs, I do that interaction on a regular basis. And I realized IT is one section of our life, people. Okay, IT is one section of our life. You're not born to just work. If we ask a question to anybody, let's say Pawan, Akshay, Nagarjuna, Sachin, or Mahesh, anybody, Nigar, if we ask a question to you, why are you born, you will never say that I'm born to work, right? So you need to understand, guys, IT work is one aspect of your life. Okay, but the thing is, what person you are, what you think, what you behave, that is overall personality. And guys, after spending so much time in the industry, the way you might be like, okay, how does Tausif think like this? Okay, why is he like this? Because I don't just focus on my IT, guys. I focus on my overall growth, the way I look at life, the way I think life. I'm trying to grow as a person, and then it is bound that my relationships will grow, my work will grow, my opportunities will grow, everything around will grow along with me. So I'm working on my growth. I'm not working for my growth in IT. I'm working on my overall growth. Okay, yes, I'm working in my overall growth. And guys, I am coming up, okay, with a 6 months program, okay, which is going to start as soon as we are done with these, where I will be working with you on a day by day basis. Okay, and there we will be growing in an overall aspect of human being. Okay, mindset, health related things. Okay, like waking up early in the morning, sleep habits, dedication levels, communication levels, being confident levels. Okay, all of these things we would be brushing it up, and we will make you more ready for the overall winner in life. Nothing but a legendary mindset. It's a 6 months program, which we are going to start from next to like a week from now, basically. Okay, so chalo, have a nice time everyone, and all those people who are ready for it, yeah, I will be giving more details in the coming few sessions for that. And thank you everybody. Okay, I'm a person always thinking something to do in life, still not completely done. I hope good days will come soon. Yes, it will come, man. Yes, Mahesh, it will happen. Things will change. Life will become better. Okay. Chalo. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice time. Have a nice time, and see you guys Monday, 9:30 back again. Show consistency. Life will reward you. Bye bye. Take care of yourself, guys. Take care.